Hey there, everyone. Just want to give a little bit of an update because, I was running a blog and, you know, um, kind of moving forward with some in real life things. I will say that I just finished recording a shorter video for the main channel, so I am still making content. So, that should be a video within a week or two. So, that will be cool. Um, but yeah, I've been just settling down in my new living situation. I mean, things were chaotic. you know, um, if you've been following the channel, basically what happened was I moved to Boston in March, and I tried to find a job to pay my rent because I was getting out of a domestic situation. And basically, I just couldn't find a job, and I was dealing with a batshit crazy roommate who kept trying to illegally evict me because I wasn't the one who was ultimately earning the money for rent. My subletter, because basically my subletter was a friend of mine, right? And she helped me get out of there by offering the apartment as a sublet, and I was only living there for like 6 months or so, right? And the intention was, if I liked the place, I was gonna renew the lease. I'll be honest with you, even if I got money, I probably wouldn't renew it just because the location was really rough on my body, and I also didn't like living within like 5 houses of Mayor Wu's place. Yeah, that was a thing. I don't mind talking about that now that I'm like a million miles. Well, not a million miles, more like enough miles, but I'm far away enough from that shit. Yes, I lived. I found out about this so when I moved in, my subletter was like, "Oh yeah, the mayor of Boston lives in this neighborhood," and I was like, "Okay." Like I'm thinking like, "Oh, it's probably some house maybe like a half mile away from me." No, it was like 5 houses down from me. And I only found out because they had like a block party or something where she closed down like the street, and they had like a bunch of cops and like Marines like doing stuff. It was weird. I like saw it right outside my house. It was that was weird. That was some weird shit. Yeah. But I lived with this crazy ass roommate who was like it would take too long to like figure out how to explain everything about why I couldn't stand this woman. But I came in there under the impression that, oh yeah, she's this like artist, right? Because she does textile work. That's cool. And I was thinking, yeah, I'll go back to my artist side, and Boston will have people. Nope, nope, nope. I mean, I will say this: the landlord and his wife were really cool, and the subletter really helped me turn my life around. And even though she had to pay most of the rent, which really sucks, but the good news is that now that I've moved away, I've actually managed to find a job, and I'm gonna be starting regular hours soon. I just finished training, so I'm looking forward to that because we'll have a little bit of extra money around here, but also I'll be able to pay back my subletter, and everything will be good in the wash, Everything's looking pretty good around here. I mean, I don't know if I told you guys, but the rent is $700. I mean, you cannot beat that. That's fucking amazing. And I get to look at mountains every morning. It's wonderful. And my job is literally right across the street, so I can just walk to my job. I don't even have to use my car to go to work, which is great because then I can really, drive my car in a way that doesn't waste its miles on bullshit that's not good for the car, like stop and go traffic kind of shit like I would have in Boston or even Metro Detroit. So I'm very happy about that. But yeah, I wanna first explain why this roommate was so fucking crazy. So like, she was a huge dick about pretty much everything about me because I didn't have a job, and she was like shocked that I didn't have a job, and we explained to her when I was moving that I was a victim of a domestic abuse situation. You know, thankfully not a physically abusive, but definitely financially and emotionally and mentally abusive situation. And you know, I was moving out, and you know, she didn't seem to understand that the you know, I was, you know, trying to rebuild my life, and she was pissed off that I didn't have a job right away. And I'm like, I'm fleeing away from, you know, my subletter is my friend, and she's helping me get away from a domestic abuse situation that she's witnessed for years now. You know, like I thought we explained this to you, right? And so this caused a lot of tension, and like she didn't seem to comprehend. Like she was more concerned about like stupid shit, like the White House front lawn or something. I don't know. She was she was unironically more concerned about that than things like the job market. Like when I came there, I thought, okay, yeah, I'll be able to find a minimum wage job, no problem. I mean, it'll be competitive, but I'm sure I'll find something, right? Um, First off, I don't know what it is about Boston, but Boston hates people from Detroit and Chicago. I don't know what it is, but you guys hate the Midwest. All right, I get it. I get it. You know, we had a bunch of labor movement shit, and you are known for literally instantiating the worst fucking apparatus in the world that is currently destroying everything and risks life on this planet itself. Um, but yeah, nah, fuck Boston. Boston, just the people there. I don't know what it is, but like you say that you're from Detroit, and they look at you, and they I think they hate you more than if you said that you're British. And I'm British. I could sense the subtle anti-British like mindset. It's actually really funny. I'm not making this up either. I think like maybe I'm crazy. Maybe this is like a schizovision thing, but like other British people who've been to Boston, fill me in on this, right? Like they do hate British people still, right? Like my roommate was one of those fucking dumb asshole like American larpers who's like, oh yeah, I have like 1% Irish in me and 1% Scottish in me and 1% Welsh in me, and it's like, all right, we get it, you're American. And then they like fantasize about how amazing England is, and they're just like, oh, and they'll do that, but they secretly hate British people. They're still salty. They're still fucking salty. And the thing is that it's really hard to pick a side because they both suck. I mean, I joke to myself that the losers bracket is Anglos versus French, but I actually think the real losers, like the real losers bracket, is British people versus Americans. I mean, you're like you look at that and you're just like, oh my god. But anyways, right? So I'm dealing with this tension, trying to get a job, and this bitch is breathing down my throat. And I will admit, I fucked up. I fell behind on cleaning the kitchen. Now, mind you, you can still use the stove. You could still use the dishwasher. You could still use the sink. It's just that I would leave like, you know, like grease and stuff, which is not acceptable. I want to say that right now. But like, it was still usable, just to be clear. It's not one of those situations where you literally can't use the kitchen, right? And she was so mean about it. Right? And it was like, at first it was like, I was like, okay, yeah, I really fell behind, let me pick up on that, you know. And a big part of it was because in my depressive months, right, I really struggle like physically, like it really is really hard for me to take care of myself and do things. And you know, because I didn't have a job to even help regulate my schedule, I just was kind of floating around. It was really hard for me to even have the energy to make the food in the first place. So, and she's telling me that I shouldn't cook. Like, what? I'm sorry, but I don't have a job. I can't go and eat out all the time like you do, right? But But I thought at first, like, okay, maybe this is making her feel really uncomfortable. Maybe she's just like unable to, maybe she feels uncomfortable in her own kitchen, and that's a really distressing feeling, right? So I made more and more of an effort to try to, like, make my cleaning like suitable and stuff, and it just nothing was ever good enough for her. Like, and mind you, she wouldn't bother to like point out things that were upsetting her until she literally was flipping her lid over it. Like, she had no communication skills at all. She was a huge immature baby with everything, right? And so she, you wouldn't find out that there was grease on the walls that she was pissed off about until 2 months later. Which, I'm sorry, honey, but that doesn't help anybody, okay? Like, you're living, and I told her when we moved in, like, I'm pretty significantly, like, mentally disabled, right? And I need help with things, right? And all I was asking for was for her to reinforce certain behaviors so that I could become more autonomous, because, once it becomes muscle memory, I don't usually have a problem with it, right? It's my brain that's the issue, right? And she just didn't believe me. Like, she didn't believe me, which was concerning. Like, I started to talk to my subletter. I'm like, she doesn't seem to understand that she's living with a person who gets psychotic every year, and she needs to take that seriously. Like, I don't want to be in another situation, because back when I was living in Michigan, I had to deal with this person. The reason why I was getting away, one of the main reasons was, not only was she spending so much of my money, like, we're talking between 50, she's probably cost me about 15 to 20K worth of both, like, just damages and just buying shit that I wouldn't have normally signed up for. So, my money was just being tapped, like, just completely tapped, right? And on top of this, I was dealing with, not only would she do that, but she would literally provoke my mental illness constantly. Whenever we would have a confrontation or a fight, which were always over the most stupid and petty things, which nobody else in my life would ever fucking fight over, right? She would escalate these fights to the point where I would literally tell her, like, you need to stop, because I'm going to have a fucking mental illness attack. Like, I'm trying to work a full-time job, taking care of a family, because you're too fucking lazy to get a job, and you're literally about to set me into a fucking medical crisis. You need to fucking stop. And you know what this bitch did instead? Not only would she not stop, but she would call the police on me. Apparently, she, this stupid bitch would go around and tell everybody about how much she gives a flying fuck about, police violence and shit, even though, schizophrenics are one of the most vulnerable demographics next to black people, right? And yet she's called the police on me twice, and I've had to navigate those situations while psychotic. So, fuck her. Right. And that's what I had to deal with in Michigan. And that's why I was trying to get away. And now I had to deal with this person who literally had no human view of me if I didn't have a job, even though I was able to make some scraps of money here and there. And I wasn't, and all I was really doing was, the kitchen was kind of dirty. I wasn't even really leaving a mess anywhere else, really, because I didn't go out. I felt uncomfortable around this person, right? Because she was mean to me all the time, right? So what started happening was I started to have some other medical issues. I don't want to say it out loud too much, but I'll kind of like imply it so you can kind of figure out what's going on. Basically, I had an accident when trying to go to the bathroom, right? And the reason why I had an accident was because the toilet lid was down. And when I went to the toilet to, do my thing, because I couldn't hold it anymore, I was expecting the lid to be up, and the lid was down. And you can imagine what happened next. And obviously that's a very upsetting and embarrassing experience, which I've gotten a lot better about talking about, honestly, because of this incident. You're not going to believe this. But yeah, so I went over to her and I said to her, hey, this happened. You should know about it. Can you just leave the toilet lid up? Right? And, I noticed that she, didn't really seem to take that into account, but I would just leave the toilet lid up just naturally because, I was there most of the time because I was the one who was unemployed. And I didn't want to piss in the seat anymore. And so about 6 weeks before we're moving out, she makes this snide comment to me about how like how like she hates how she can't live with somebody who can't even keep the toilet lid down. And I said, what the fuck? We had a conversation about this. I leave the toilet lid up because I pissed on the seat. I peed on the seat. What? Like, I'm just asking for a little courtesy, and I couldn't believe it because this woman's in her 60s. There's no way some of her friends don't deal with this problem, right? But I'm 32 and I'm dealing with it. So, put yourself in that shoes. Your friends didn't have to start dealing with it until they were in their 50s or something usually, right? Just, I'm not like I don't hate it too much. It's not like a devastating thing or anything, but it's life, but it's also, it sucks, right? And it was just I was beside myself with like how you could say that. Like after I told her that, I genuinely thought maybe she forgot or something. But no, she just wanted to fight over the fact that she wanted to have the lid down. That classic Boston antagonism for no fucking reasonism, right? Which is just like, this is what you want to pour tea in the harbor over. Your ancestors are not smiling over your piss slid, okay? I think Boston individualists need to get through their fucking head that you're not winning. You're not winning when you're blocking off traffic because you can't comprehend, territory in driving, and you only comprehend that you're a selfish asshole and you need to be a selfish asshole around every other selfish asshole, right? You're not winning when you're cutting off people and you're swearing at them and you're yelling at them. You're not winning when you're white boy arguing with another white boy over the fucking parking spot. None of y'all are fucking winning. Y'all look like idiots. And the only reason why you don't realize it is because you're surrounded by 5 million other fucking idiots doing exactly the same fucking thing. Okay? So, maybe don't be part of the fucking problem and act like this, right? Because you too can have the privilege of sitting on a piss-soaked toilet because you're too fucking dumb to realize you don't have to declare a war of independence on fucking everything, right? And like, look, this woman literally called me a criminal at one point because she was too dumb to just let me finish my fucking sentence when I was talking about, issues regarding security within, companies and talking about, hey, maybe we can get a bounty off of this by reporting it or whatever. She literally thought I was a hacker. I was like, woman. And I'm sorry, if you act like that, you deserve to be called woman. Woman, what the fuck is wrong with you? I am not a criminal. And that really pissed me off because I have no criminal record. I've never committed any crimes. I've never done anything dodgy. And she's treated me. And mind you, when I called her out on this, she said, I only did it once. And I'm like, I know, but you weren't thinking it once, you stupid bitch. Like, these people are surprised that you can fucking quote unquote read minds, right? And yes, by the way, if you're wondering, this is what I was fucking dealing with for the last 6 months before I moved here. Yeah. And on top of this, she was trying to constantly illegally evict me, right? Now, I don't know if I'm gonna, be in contact with the landlord after we moved. But we had good relations up until the very end with the conflict blowing up with my roommate. That was just a situation where it was like he was like, well, I can't do anything about it. But that was it. Like, I felt embarrassed because he saw it, and I worry that he judges me, and his wife judges me because I liked those people. They were cool, right? I think they were really cool people, and they really both helped me stay stable through a lot of this and kind of like recover from the abuse that I had suffered from in my previous relationship, and kind of like deal with the employment situation mentally and what I was going to do and keep my hopes up and stuff. I really appreciate everything that they did for me, and it's kind of crazy that I'm saying this about the landlord, but yeah, they were really good people. They were just some people who managed to get a cheap house that they needed a little help paying off, that they were renting off as a room, at a pretty decently competitive rate for the area. They're just a bunch of musicians and artists. I'm cool with that, so like, yeah. And so, but this woman thought that because my subletter was paying for it, which mind you is literally in the contract. Like, that's literally the contract. That's how subletting works, right? Like, the subletter has the responsibility of the payment if the final tenant can't pay it, right? So why is she mad? She's really just trying to get rid of me because she doesn't like living with an autistic schizo. I knew it, but it took me a long time to really crystallize it, if you know what I mean, and to really understand it. And so what ended up happening was, so I went to pick up my girlfriend from Albany because she was having a similar homelessness crisis, right? Because by the end of August, I was going to be homeless, like with no idea what to do. And that's why I went and made the GoFundMe, and I used that to pay off credit card debt and get stuff to prepare myself for homelessness, like paying for my phone minutes, paying off other bills, getting certain kinds of devices and tools and just things like that. That's where most of the money went. And so I was ready to be on the streets and navigating, like the train lines and stuff. And it was scary, and I was really scared about where I was going to sleep because I had no idea what I was going to do for that, honestly. And basically what happened was, I pick up my girlfriend, right? And we're living temporarily in the room, and to just try to put a little bit of distance between her and this crazy ass roommate, I send some money to the roommate to shut her the fuck up, right? To just leave my girlfriend alone. Like, I can deal with your dumb horse shit, but my girlfriend is vulnerable, and she needs, she is not in the position to deal with your white woman bullshit, right? So, we're trying to find an apartment. It's not going well, right? Because Boston rents are crazy, and we literally only have, at the time, we only had my girlfriend's disability to work off of. I wasn't able to find a fucking job at all. There was one job, actually, that did say that if I fulfilled everything, that it'd be guaranteed a position. It was for UPS, and it was in the airport. And what happened was the trick is that you get randomly selected to be able to apply for biometrics day or something. And if you get past that, you pretty much are guaranteed the job, right? They don't even interview you. It's literally moving boxes, right? So I was going along that process, and then finally I was about to go and get my security badge, and I went to go and give them my ID to prove my identity. And you know fucking what? You fucking ready for this? All right. Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles spelled my fucking last name wrong, so it didn't match my fucking passport. Yeah, some fuck fat-fingered my fucking name This asshole has a job, but not me. Yeah. And that's how I feel when I look at every website, by the way. Like, I'm just like, wow, this back end is ass. I did back end development for fucking 10 years. You could fucking, I don't know, do a man a favor. See what I'm saying? I don't know. Anyways. The reason why I decided fuck this, right, was because that whole moment gave me like a moment of clarity where I was like, wait a second, I'm literally going to sign up for a job. Like, I'm walking with a cane because I can't handle the hills in Boston, right? And I am signing up for a job where I have to not only move heavy boxes all day, but around heavy machinery that are constantly moving while I am this oblivious. No, thank you. That's extremely dangerous, right? And that was a weird moment because, I was under so much pressure to find a job, right? And then this fucking thing happens. And it's just like, it kind of gave me an existential moment where it was like, it's not worth my life. Like, being homeless is better than, having to be in an accident, an industrial level accident, so, with heavy machinery, with rolling heavy boxes and shit. So, so instead, I told my girlfriend, I said, let's use what money you have left to get a car and just live out of the car. And that way we have a roof over our head. That way we can be mobile. That way we can leave the state if we need to. And then that way we also don't have to pay for the public transportation costs, right? Which I guess gas would probably be more expensive in the long run, but it's still better to have a car because at least you can sleep in it, right? And so we spent this money to put together the car and put it to get everything together. And the reason why I was so nervous about the car was because we had to buy this thing within 2 weeks and get it on the road because I had to go and pick up her shit. Otherwise, there's going to be a huge delay in figuring everything out. And, I just didn't want to risk her having any time being homeless and not knowing what to do. So we got the car, and it was a risky purchase. We could have absolutely blown up in our faces, and that's why I was so pissed off about that one mechanic who tried to give every excuse to tear up the vehicle, right? So very recently, I had the vehicle looked at, and I'm gonna have the work done next week. It's only $1,200 worth of work. I can use the card that I paid off earlier. I mean, I already have a job, so I'm gonna be able to pay it back. So I don't need your help again. But I can use that same card to pay for the work. And and basically after those guys tried to swindle me, I was very obsessively looking over that vehicle, and just pro tip, just be aware that if you're trying to pull that kind of shit on people to make money, it impacts them more than their wallet. Like, they're not stupid. People will catch on to what you're doing. And when they do, that has consequences not just for you and your business or their pocket, but also their mind. Because the whole month, I pretty much spent being paranoid about the vehicle and being paranoid about what the mechanics were going to do to me because I posted a negative review. Like, it's really difficult when you now live in your brain exists in a state where it's just constantly thinking like, oh my God, how are people going to hurt me? So don't do that. Just on like another reason why to not do it, basically, right? But yeah, we had to rush to buy that vehicle, and it was in stellar shape for the price that we paid, right? Like, pretty much all said and done, after all the repairs, it's basically the same value as if we got something fresh, right? And considering used car prices and the financing market right now, everything's insane. So being able to buy a good car that works, that you can sleep in and modify as kind of like a travel sleeper camper vehicle, for 5,200, really good, really fucking good. And then with the repairs on top of it, it's more like, I want to say like 6,700. Really fucking good to be able to manage to squeeze that in this market, right? So I managed to pilot that real good. Dealing with the RMV through this was hell. We had to go to the RMV no less than 4 times to get our shit straightened out for getting the registration on and title proper on that vehicle. Like, it was just fucking insane. We did get it done, but the problem is that my girlfriend doesn't drive because she's disabled, and so I have the title both in my name and her name, right? And getting this done in Massachusetts is like dealing with it with the insurance company and the dealership and everything. Oh my God, it was a mess. It was the worst. It was some of the worst shit I've ever had to deal with. Absolute nightmare. So anyways, we got the vehicle, and I'm doing a ton of work, bustling around, busting my ass, running on all cylinders, going around trying to get everything set up so that we are ready to go no later than August 31st, right? And the only thing in my way is a stupid 62-year-old woman who thinks she's the center of the fucking universe. I mean, let me just put it this way. Her fucking cat, I am not joking about this, her cat, right? One time I had an episode in front of her cat, right? And her cat showed more awareness to my health than she ever has. This cat literally paused and made sure that I was okay until I recovered, and then he left. This cat does not want to waste his time. He's got things to do, but he made sure that I was okay. Meanwhile, this human that I could communicate to in English doesn't understand it. It's just unbelievable. And while this is happening, right, I'm setting up everything, and I've got almost everything set up. Finally, the solar panels come in, and I have enough energy to pull everything together, right? And I basically have I have heat stress incident, right, where I basically almost passed out, and this was about a little more than a week before we were going to move out. And I just said to her, or maybe it was 2 weeks, I can't remember, around that period. I said to her, look, we're going to need another few days. I'm literally going to collapse. And she throws a giant fit, right? And I gotta stress, after the peeing incident, which, by the way I reacted to that was I literally went on strike and said, I'm not doing anything around the house anymore. Go fuck yourself. And she's like, ha, you don't do anything around the house. And I'm like, okay, go find for yourself, right? She found pretty fucking quickly how much shit I actually did around the house, right? And she was also going mad because she couldn't figure out how I was able to keep living my life exactly the way I had before without using, any sort of mutual supplies. See, she would hide the mutual supplies to try to make me stop, posting Post-it notes, telling her to stop being a pig and, leave the seat up so that, I don't piss all over it, right? And this went on for like a week, by the way, and I just put up more and more aggressive Post-it notes and calling her out on her bullshit. And I took I even had a record of it to make sure that, I knew what was going on. And basically, she was losing her shit because she couldn't figure out how I was able to spend $5 to get tape and, write these Post-it notes without using her resources. She had no idea that I had actually earned more money than she did the prior month through the donation drive, right? And I wasn't going to tell her because I ain't stupid, right? But yeah, this goes on for a week, and she doesn't understand why she can't get rid of me because I'm paying rent and I'm not violating the lease. And she doesn't understand why I'm not holding back, because my request is completely reasonable. All I'm asking for you to do is to leave the seat up and to not make comments about my disability. Oh yeah, she used to do that too. She used to tell me constantly to take fucking walks. You know how I made a video about how I have to walk with a cane most of the time? It's actually nice because where I live now, it's not so much of a problem because I live in a valley, so it's flat. And I work across the street, so it's not far enough where I really need to use one all the time, but I have it there just in case, right? But when I was in Boston, I absolutely needed it because it was hills everywhere, and the terrain is not friendly to somebody who has bad knees like me. And this bitch would tell me to go on walks after seeing me walk with a cane. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then she had the audacity to tell me on her last day, oh, can you move out of the way? My knees aren't so good. I was like, yeah, you and me both. You and me both. Stupid bitch. Yeah. So, anyways, back to the solar panels. I know I'm all over the place, but this is how schizo brain works. Get used to it. Anyways, I get to the solar panels, and I almost pass out. And basically what happens is I rest for a whole day, and I still am really tired and scared, and I feel like maybe I pushed myself too far. Is my heart failing? Is there something wrong? So I go and, explain to her, like, I need a couple days to recover from this, and then, we'll be on our way, right? And she just, like I said, is not having it. Oh my God. And I'm like, nope, not dealing with this shit. I literally screamed on the top of my lungs in her face, and I called her out. I said, you've been nothing but a fucking abuser and a fucking pig and blah, 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 blah. I can't even remember everything I said, but I shut her up, right? And then I started explaining to her how things were going to fucking work around here, right? Because, mind you, she kept calling me a child and kept treating me like a child and saying I'm like a little kid, right? So she better be ready for a fucking adult to put her in her fucking place, right? So I was telling her how things were going to go, right? Because she made me snap, right? And I was like, okay, this is my shit. You're not going to touch that shit. This is what's going to happen with the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. And she started to interrupt me, and I screamed in her face again to shut the fuck up. And then I went back to normal. See, the thing is that always freaks these kinds of pigs out, right? Because they think you're unstable when you scream at them, right? But if you show that you're in full control of screaming in them, and you're doing it literally to freak them the fuck out, and you're in full control, that scares them more than anything. It's not even the screaming that scares them. It's the fact that you are completely composed, and you can just trigger that screaming voluntarily. They've never dealt with something like that, and they're scared because that means you can beat the shit out of them voluntarily too. Not that I would, but I'm just saying that's how the semiotics works there. So what we did was me and my girlfriend were like, fuck this, we're gonna get away from here for a few days to just get the fuck away from this, right? So we went up to a ski resort in Vermont, right? And this is also when the DGQC thing was going on. That was very silly. That was very silly. And I whipped that video together while all this shit was going on. So like while I was like pissed off at, while I was dealing with my insane fucking roommate, I was also just like, what the fuck? Brooke said, what about Gavin? What the fuck? Okay, this is it. I'm coming after this little bitch. Like, and so what happened was this whole firestorm was going on online while me and my girlfriend were, enjoying fucking nature and looking at trees and like sitting in a jacuzzi because we could not deal with this crazy grandma's bullshit anymore, right? And then what happens is we go and we were like, we asked the person working at the lodge, she's like, oh yeah, there's a waterfall right around the corner here, and if you go this way it's about 10-15 miles. And I was like, all right, I'll go. Right, and we went there and it was fucking beautiful. We cooked our dinner there, and then we went and looked at the stars by the waterfall. And then with my the signal was going between like 0 and 1 bars, so I'd get like one message like every 20 minutes. And then I got this message from one of my friends, and he was like, President Sunday is asking you to join his stream. And I was like, tell him that I'm touching grass and having sex with my girlfriend. Disclaimer, I was not actually having sex with my girlfriend. I just told him to say that because that'd be funny. So after we recovered, you know, it was still a fucking nightmare living with this bitch, but we got the fuck out of there on the 31st. We actually had to stay there until the very last day because the fucking mechanic threw that scare at us, acting like my engine was going to blow up at any second. And then I had a fucking dissociative switch or whatever the fuck that's called, where my brain just clicked and was like, wait a second, those guys were scamming me. Like, I have a side of me that understands cars, and I have a side of me that doesn't, if that makes sense. I don't really talk about having DID very much, but I don't talk about it because, you know, I feel like I want to talk about the parts of my life that I want to talk about. But yeah, I have a part of me that understands cars a lot better than the other side. And there was like a moment where that side clicked and was like, no. But yeah, before that happened, I was really scared. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. Oh my God, I don't know. So I didn't drive the car. And so, of course, she was absolutely livid to find out that my car, I rightfully believed that my car was not in believable drivable condition until having it looked at, right, because of this scam artist. And then it took me a couple of thoughts to realize, hey, this guy's scamming me, right? And I realized, like, she realized I was going to have to stay there until the entire lease term, regardless. Like, all of this fucking bullshit that she put me through, right, just to get me out early, wasn't gonna work anyway. So finally we move out. The landlord is like, yep, everything looks good, right? Doesn't even mention anything about damages. Unlike how the fucking stupid bitch was threatening me when I was putting up Post-it notes with tape and saying those were gonna cost hundreds in damages. So, no, it's not, fucking idiot. You're a fucking moron. Please stop. Please stop. So finally I got away from her. And it's just, ever since I got away from her, oh my God, it's been like a healing process. Like I really went from one abuser to another, and now I'm finally in a much better place. But the problem was that when we moved out, we had no idea what we were going to do. And what turned out to happen was right after we went to Vermont, I was like, Vermont is beautiful, right? I love Vermont. And let's try moving there. Let's just throw a couple applications out, right? And I did. And I managed to actually get this apartment from one of those inquiries. It was really funny. But like, there was like a 5-day period where we really didn't know what the fuck was going on. There was like 2 days where we had no hope. We were just like, okay, we're going to be on the street now, I guess. And then we got a call back, and we're like, okay. So I was like hardlining these negotiations, right? Again, the donations helped push us over the edge and let us actually get this apartment. Thank you very fucking much for all of your help. Right? We're actually picking up again. Like, I'm actually getting my life back together thanks to you guys. Like, we were really on the brink, and you changed that, and that means the world to me. I just wanted to say that. And But yeah, like that's how we got here. We just kind of like tumbled here, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, all right, okay. And then a bunch of stupid shit happened, like with the stupid fucking registration getting fucked up. So then I had to rent a U-Haul to get the rest of our crap from storage in Boston. But all that's settled now, and now I got my job. The car is looking pretty good. You know, the registration and license we're gonna take care of once I get my first paychecks coming in, and things are looking up, honestly. So yeah, I appreciate everybody being there for me, and I appreciate everybody helping me through this. It really means the world to me. Like I can't stop saying it. You know, there's some things that the 6 months between March and August were completely chaotic, and were a complete gamble to try to reorganize my life after being stuck with somebody who was sucking my soul away for 4 years, who would treat every single incident of me standing up for myself as a threat or violence, while they go and abuse me recklessly and say there's nothing wrong with that. And then going to some fucking crazy woman for 6 months, and now I'm finally in this chill place. My roommate is like this chill ass anime chick, gamer anime chick. That's fucking awesome. I'm down with that. That's great. Well, she's my neighbor, not my roommate, but she's my neighbor. And not having to live with somebody that feels like super hostile all the time. Like, I live with my girlfriend, and she's so sweet, and she's intelligent, and she's smart, and she's just as fucked up as me, but in different ways, and we take care of each other, and it's wonderful. And it feels like nature's finally healing. So after all of that, I've been trying to pull myself back together to get back to writing, and I have been writing a bit, but the piece I was writing on radical psychiatry history was so long that one, I'm probably going to actually split that one in two, because it's just so long. It's going to be a 2-hour video if it's not. And then I also made a shorter piece, which I just recorded last night, and I'm going to start or audio editing soon. And yeah, so things are moving up, and I'm hoping to start working on that game. All of the moving stuff obviously kind of took priority over that, so yeah, but I still have that on the cooker. Can you believe it? A Guattari game. Guattari gaming. Are you ready, guys? We're gonna be Guattari gaming. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. See you, folks. Take it easy. Have a good one.